So greetings to all, and let us begin with our next meetup session on concentration. As we know, we are studying the Sunlit path, which has the words of the Mother. And as Mother has reminded us, we need to remind ourselves that these words are not mere words. These are forces in action. What does this mean? What does this mean that they are forces in action? That they are very powerful, right? Like if we were to become them, if we were to receive them, more than just entertainment, more than just a wonder, more than just, oh wow, that sounds great. If we were to receive them as the force they are, worship them as the force they are, invoke them as the force they are, my life will change. So I learn a lot, but I must also aspire to put these words, these teachings in practice. Otherwise, there's no difference between regular entertainment and any word that we read. It sounds strange, but I guess that reminder we need time and again. So just wanted to share this. So invoking Sri Aurobindo and the Mother's grace and presence as we begin this session, aspiring for flexibility, wideness, acceptance, tolerance, surrender, humbleness, love as we begin. Thank you. So I'm assuming you can see my screen and the passage is concentration. And so we'll begin with this. It's a small one today. Let's see if we want to take up two. I also have the chapter Concentration from Synthesis of Yoga. We can also go through a little bit of that if we are interested. Let's see where this goes. So if anybody has the capacity, if they can read the whole passage for us slowly, that would be great. Thank you.
I can.
Thank you.
I hope. Okay. What is concentration? It is to bring back all the scattered threads of consciousness to a single point, a single idea. Those who can attain perfect attention succeed in everything they undertake. They will always make a rapid progress. And this kind of concentration can be developed exactly like the muscles. One may follow different systems, different methods of training. Today, we know that the most pitiful weakling, for example, can with discipline become as strong as anyone else. One should not have a will which flickers out like a candle. The will, the concentration must be cultivated. It is a question of method, of regular exercise. If you will, you can. But the thought, what's the use, must not come in to weaken the will. The idea that one is born with a certain character and can do nothing about it is stupidity.
Thank you, Juan. Would anybody like to begin? Anything on concentration? Anything on these lines? Okay, so we'll start with going through these lines first. And of course, at any time, feel free to unmute and share. So, what is concentration? That's the question. Although we think we know, it's so beautiful to know again, again, and again. So, Mother says, concentration, it is to bring back all the scattered threads of consciousness to a single point, a single idea. I think this is so important because lot of times if we are doing, sitting and concentrating on something which we can term as mindfulness or meditation, we sit comfortably and yet we don't have an objective, clear objective in front of us, and everything is just going haywire, which is great too, because at least we are sitting, at least we are available, at least we are giving some time to what is important. But what is it that I need to get, or, do is to bring back. So, mother is assuming she knows that things are not where they are supposed to be. So, to bring back all the scattered threads of consciousness to a single point, a single idea. So, in the beginning, how it is said that you can focus on anything. In Buddhism, it could even be a pebble when they talk about Shamta meditation, just taking an example. Because first, it doesn't matter what you are looking at. The truth is, I'm not okay looking at something for more than, I don't know, whatever the number could be, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. My mind wanders off. I am reading something and such sacred texts, and I'm reading a sentence, and in between, sometimes the mind wanders off. So, this wandering off needs to stop, needs to decrease, needs to eliminate. So, we begin with a single step is to try and get things back to myself, to within, to a single point, to a single idea. So, bringing back scattered threads, consciousness to a single point, a single idea. And if we remember, we had also seen, that there's this video of Jetsunmala Tenzin Palmo on meditation. I don't know if some of you have seen it. We have shared it sometimes. There she says that if when you are sitting in concentration for meditation, this is especially for the beginners. So when you are sitting, say, for an hour, and in that hour, if your mind wanders off 100,000 times, or I don't know, 10,000 times, whatever word she would have used the number, she said, and if every time when you see it's gone, you bring it back, that's a very successful practice of meditation. But what would we do? We would get frustrated, right? We would say, it's not my cup of tea. Oh, this is crazy. I can't do this. This is not important. We just look for excuses and we lose motivation and we get up. And we don't even last an hour. I don't know if we last 10 minutes. So then, it's like, it's my idea of what a meditation should be. But my ideas, if I by now know, they don't, have much weight. So if I can listen to this and go down and continue, that would be great. Moving on. She says, those who can attain perfect attention, succeed in everything they undertake, they will always make a rapid, progress. So that we had read last time also, and I think Vishal had also shared something about the importance, and we know it. Why is concentration important? Because the problem is we don't focus, we are not concentrated, we are very scattered. So it's like we are here, the body is 100% here, but we, the mind, the senses, or what I am above is not here because my being is scattered so much. So that's why concentration is important, because if one can attain that perfect attention, they would succeed in everything. And our aim is big and high. So if we are not fully there, if a child goes for a game, say, or I don't know, an examination, a quiz, and he comes back and you see out of 20, he has made like 6 silly mistakes that he could have just corrected. Instead of writing 29, he has written 92. Some small things. That's so, it kind of makes us a bit frustrated, if I'm allowed to use that word, because it's like he's capable. And yet, because he wasn't fully there, he couldn't perform as perfectly as he could have very easily done if he was just there while attempting that sum. So, how frustrating it must be. I mean, although I don't think that word can be used, it can be for, people who know we are capable, and we are of doing so much, and yet because of our distortions and distractions, we are who we are, living quite, lives filled with quite a lot of suffering, and that all can go away. So yeah, just rereading this line. Those who can attain perfect attention succeed in everything they undertake. They will always make a rapid progress. And this kind of concentration can be developed exactly like the muscles. So it's a matter of practice. It's a matter of, again, dedication. You have to show up. You have to do what's needed to build the muscles. And Mother says one may follow different systems, different methods of training. Today, we know that the most pitiful weakling, for example, can with discipline become as strong as anyone else. So exactly on similar lines, it's also mentioned in synthesis, if we take that up. So I have no excuse. If I feel there is some weakness in me, some issue somewhere where I'm stuck, which I'm repeatedly maybe seeing, I can become the opposite of that. If I focus on it, if I concentrate on it, the problem, the solution, what I need to do. And of course, one should not have a will which flickers out like a candle. So one thing comes, I sit one time and I see that how it's all gone. Not my cup of tea. Oh, I'm craving tea. I'm using that phrase again and again. So yeah. So anytime when I'm feeling demotivated, anytime when I'm feeling it's too hard, it's not for me. Oh, I don't see any sense in it. Oh, that other person said I'm not capable. I feel I cannot do this. So that is me flickering out like a candle. Like it's there, and yet the smallest wind and it's extinguished. Again, someday it will be lit again. And again, it might flicker out. So I need to stand strong to my enemies. And the enemies are, most of them are living inside me, right? Who do demotivate me, who say I'm no good, who keep questioning, who keep doubting, who feel this is not important. I can do without it. If I've read a passage on concentration, I've got it. But we know when we sit, we haven't. So being honest and sincere, we must protect the light of our candles. Pausing here in case there's any addition.
Yeah, I think the analogy of building the muscles is very good. And tying to what you said, like, you may not be able to sit for an hour, but okay, whatever you can sit for. But bringing back the awareness, uh, and then you see, oh, this was a struggle before. Now maybe it's even 5 minutes. I can do it quite comfortably. Maybe then I can do 10. And then, you can even practice throughout the day. Uh, I have seen these people who are very much into fitness, and it's quite amazing. You learn from everybody that they don't lose an opportunity uh, to strengthen something. I mean, I was seeing this person. He's actually much older, and like we are at the center here, and he's like, doing some exercises right there. And he's like, "Oh, Vishal, take a look at this," and I'm like, "What is?" So that's the passion, right? That you are so attached to the practice that you will not waste an opportunity to practice it. And and then of course we have the special, mother says you can concentrate on the heart. So that is a special place that we have. So yeah, there are different, you know ways you can concentrate on anything, as I think was said. But then, if you start concentrating on the heart, exactly like you would do on a point or on a flame, you just concentrate at the center, and then you start, maybe feeling that presence. So that is also very beautiful, where then one can use that. I mean, of course, mother says that one can become successful in anything, but then we can use it for what is our objective, to basically awaken that being that is dormant in us.
Yes, thank you. Again, like you said, the example of building muscles is so app. And we see so many people, especially youngsters, young men in early late teens and all. It's because while you were talking, I was just wondering why so many of them would want to follow that. And it's so obvious. Firstly, they see so often the people who have developed those muscles and how awesome they look, right? So the result is in front of them right there. So, and there are not many Buddhas walking around us. So, probably, that motivation also is less. Unless you're seeking, you will not come across anybody. And of course, if there's grace, you will. And secondly, it's very, it's instant. Like you are sitting there and you're doing it, maybe probably in 2, 3 weeks, you start feeling something is building up. And so, again, this want of instant gratifications really keeps us away from the goal. So just if we can, I don't know, learn something from this on ourselves, for ourselves, that would be wonderful. And while you were sharing, I was also reminded of what I had read some on vigilant. I think it would be apt here. Just one passage if somebody would want to read. It touches upon an important small thing. Again, a reminder, we do know this already. Uh, would anybody like to read or should I read?
Okay, I'll read that.
Thank you, Captain.
To be vigilant is not merely to resist what pulls you downward, but above all, to be alert in order not to lose any opportunity to progress, any opportunity to overcome a weakness, to resist a temptation, any opportunity to learn something, to correct something, to master something. If you are vigilant, you can do in a few days what would otherwise take years. If you are vigilant, you change each circumstance of your life each action, each movement into an occasion for coming nearer the goal.
Thank you, Captain. So we do start with thinking that I have to be very vigilant about falling down. But this reminder that I also have to be vigilant about all the places where I can climb up is equally important. Resisting a
Yeah, this is very
temptation.
nice. Sorry,
Yes.
very nice. Yeah, the positive part is very nice actually, because we normally see it in the negative, right? That's very beautiful. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Karan.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can, of course. Yeah, so I was just reiterating on this only that to be mindful, to be aware that that too is my task helps me. And we want instant gratifications, and yet when say I read this sentence that if you are vigilant, you can do in a few days what would otherwise take years. This would slip by me. I would not remember this. The mother says if you are concentrating on anything, you can become the opposite, say, of what you are. A weakling can become Dara Singh, the strongest person maybe. But that I just slip off because again, I'll have to practice, right? It will take hard work and sincerity to do that. And I guess maybe it's time that we stop doing that. Let us take these things too and try to experiment. It's a big thing to say, you can do in a few days what would otherwise take years with with plural, not just a year. So with vigilance, you can change each circumstance of your life. Yeah, I'll stop there. If there's anything, please do unmute.
Lately, I have been observing how, in my case at least, how much the use of the phones and the internet and Instagram and social media, how much it impacts in my capacity to concentrate. This scrolling and looking for it really it's designed to make us spend time without thinking. I really I observed how much my capacity for concentration was in some way affected by this custom of looking for whatever. I think it can be very harmful if we don't use it properly and be at pay a lot of attention to what we are doing. Yes, like I had to start putting some discipline in this, like taking care of how much time I spend and what I am looking for and what I am watching and the way I use the social media because yes, I find myself like reading a book and maybe 10 minutes after I am looking if I have some message or whatever in my phone. Something that was not like that some time ago. So,
Yes, thank you, Juan. So yes, the cell phones are very distractive. And when we talk about, say, using the empty pockets of time, Monica used to refer to this term quite often that, filling the empty pockets of time mindfully, cautiously. But in today's day and age, we don't have empty pocket of times because all these pockets are so automatically filled by grabbing the phone. Even on red lights, if there's a 1 minute pause, we'll grab and quickly check. Like it shows the insanity of my addiction, which I don't acknowledge again because everybody is doing it. It's so easy, nobody comes to know. And yet, at the end of the week, when it comes, your screen time, every time one is shocked that really was it that much? So, yeah, it's a very good observation. It sounds so obvious when you say it. And yet, it takes effort to then keep stepping back, keep stepping back.
This you said this empty pockets of time, and I
Yeah, Juan,
remember.
just 1 second. Your voice, sometimes it's very clear, then it's decreasing, then it's increasing. Just wanted, yeah, if you could hold
Okay,
it. Thank you.
probably it's the connection.
Yeah.
I remember an anecdote of Suzuki Roshi, a Zen master in United States. A disciple asked him, "What should a Zen practitioner do in their free time or something like that?" And the answer, he just burst in laughter, like it's saying, "Free time." Like what? It made me think a lot, that anecdote. Like, what is free time, right? We are used to think maybe that we have work to do, so we are busy here, and the other is our free time. But really, it's the time of our life. Every time is the time, and every moment asks of us, or what do we want to do with it, right? It's not really, it's kind of a funny division, one free time or busy time, or it's the time of our lives, and we should really take good care of it.
Yeah, that was very well put. And um, Taru, can you pull up this passage from Savitri, the restless nether members? I was reminded of that when, Shibanda talks about this dull gravitation. Very beautiful, quite relevant to what we are talking about. You search for that. Yes, yes. When we read till the greater rise, from here till the greater rise, maybe one can read that.
Yeah. Vishal, would you like to read?
Sure, I can read
Yes.
it. The restless nether members tire of peace, a nostalgia of old little works and joys, a need to call back small familiar selves, to tread the accustomed and inferior way, the need to rest in a natural poise of fall. As a child who learns to walk can walk not long, replace the titan will forever to climb. On the heart's altar, dim the sacred fire. An old pull of subconscious chords renews. It draws the unwilling spirit from the heights, or a dull gravitation drags us down to the blind driven inertia of our base. This too the supreme diplomat can use. He makes our fall a means for greater rise. These are very, very beautiful lines. So I was also thinking, this is so true. We even are reading something very beautiful, and I think Taru, yesterday you sent that video. I was also watching that. Alok does very nice, very beautiful. But then we like, "Arey, chalo, आधा घंटा देख लिया, now we'll watch something else." This is how it is. We're like so wanting to get distracted, as Juan was putting it, that it's only that much that, and then it'll justify. He says so beautifully, a nostalgia of old little works and joys, a need to call back small familiar selves. That was our self, right? We used to do all this thing. We love social media. We love talking, chatting with people and, just spending time, this and that, just whiling away time. As a child who learns to walk can walk not long. So this is the pull of the subconscious, where it takes time. I think that is where then the perseverance comes in also. Right? And I used to always love this. So, somebody explained, and I thought that was very beautiful. The progress is not like straight up, right? It is, and I think Shubhendu used the word, it is like cyclic. But so if you see like, the cyclic, like the kind of a ring, right? How is it? Goes up, comes down maybe like little bit, like halfway or less than half, and again goes up more. So you can kind of visualize that, right? That is how it is happening. We feel, oh, we were here, we were very comfortable, and we thought we had attained something. Now we have fallen again. But then you are kind of coming back to like this state to rise higher, right? He says he uses a fall for means of a greater rise. That is how the human progress is. Somebody had explained this, and I thought it was very well put. And I think Shubhendu has also put it somewhere.
Yes, thank you. We had taken up these lines, I don't remember when, with Monica, and these were really beautiful. And because we would not admit to this, right? Like we are too egoistic or too smart to even say that I can't be this stupid, right? And when we see, we realize that yes, we are this stupid, or this is not, it's not about stupidity, it's just about the habitual patterns, right? That I'm just habituated so strongly to do what I should be doing. I'm used to doing. This is how things are done in my family. So those things which we take as very, I don't know, righteous or virtuous, those are the things that tie us. And again, the video that you were mentioning of Alokda from yesterday about pride, arrogance, ego, very beautifully reflected the same. So, we take this thing, nostalgia, this word. So, I mean, it gives a very nice feeling in the heart, right? Like, oh, I'm nostalgic about that. We keep just getting dragged. So, how we get fooled and played by our emotions and our delights. Yesterday, my father, he made me listen to a short talk. It was on, I don't know, some Upanishads, and there, I won't know how to say it correctly, but I'll try. The person was saying, the speaker, Swami Pradumanji, that there is, these indriya, these senses that we have, the senses, their nature is, and we know this already, and yet it's beautiful. They will never say it's enough. Like the heart will never say, okay, I've got enough of desires, I'm done. The mind would not say that, oh, yes, now I think I've read enough, I don't want to read. Like there's this constant kind of grabbing, that constant need of attaching to things, and the senses never would ever say, I'm done, thank you for indulging me. Like it's against their nature. So once you see this, say what this is what addiction is, right? Or when say we move on from past situations, there is something in me which keeps craving, right? But that was delightful, or that made me feel nice, or that was funny. And in my delights, I keep going back, not realizing that if I keep going back, how will I ever move forward? But when you talk to me, I would say, oh, I want to move forward. Of course. Why would I want to go back? And yet, there's things in me which keep pulling me, pulling me, pulling me. And with a lot of pleasure, I keep going back. I don't go back with, oh my God, what's happening to me? I go back with nostalgia and smiles and passion in my heart that, oh, see how nice it makes me feel. So, this catch here is really important, that this is how we get stuck. It's like how we say that there are, hooks on us. One place we get unhooked, then we get stuck somewhere, then we get stuck somewhere. So when we start recognizing the pattern, because this is the natural pattern, and if we start recognizing the pattern, maybe we can unhook faster and maybe save ourselves from some hooks. That's the thing. Yes, Juan, please.
No, I was thinking while you said this, and feeling like maybe I don't know if I can put it into words, but that Sri Aurobindo may say that this craving of desire and insatiable desires from our mind and our hearts, probably it is a distorted movement of something that is true, which would be the necessity of our heart and our mind to expand and and grow. We have a legitimate aspiration for growth that is endless, right? But maybe this craving and this desire and this attachment is probably like a distortion of this like need for expansion, need for growth, or something that in itself would be a proper thing.
Yes, thank you. So at least if we recognize, I mean, we might continue to do that. And it would, of course, in the end, by your stumblings, the world is perfected. By my stumblings, the world is perfected. But if I don't even know I'm stumbling, that's a different stage. When I'm stumbling and I know I'm stumbling and yet I'm stumbling, that's a different phase. And that is a prerequisite to me not stumbling. So I guess just this attention that now I can see, I feel is so much grace, that means that now there is hope of me trying not to stumble, because I recognize this is where I fall, this is where I stick.
And you were saying this from the words from Savitri, and I can distinctly remember when I was in my 20s, I had like a burst, kind of a spiritual opening. I didn't just came, and I started to feel in a way that I didn't understand. It was so unfamiliar for me, because I was feeling like deep happiness and peace, and like everyone was lovable, and it was really an unusual experience for me. I was like post-adolescent. I was craving, I was depressed, I was passionate or whatever, but never felt that way. And this experience lasted like for a whole day. And by the end of the day, I can really distinctly remember, and I saw clearly that I was feeling uncomfortable, that I needed to please give me back what I feel usually, because it was amazing even to see that, like, I'm feeling better than anywhere. Never in my life I felt this peace and happiness, and I'm not feeling comfortable. Like I need to. I felt I was voluntarily going back to asking back my usual feelings that were, you know, miserable, but it's amazing, and I think probably we unconsciously do that many times.
Yes, thank you for sharing that live example for those lines. And now that we are conscious and when we are calling, maybe we can see the pattern so that we can recognize it. Just giving 2-3 more minutes on these beautiful lines. So, what you just said, right? Small familiar cells, and you could see they were small, right? And yet they were familiar. So, this familiarity is something that really stalls our progress. For everyone, that's the way to tread the. Yes, Vishal.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead. I was just, yeah, no, go ahead, sorry.
Uh, I was just reading the lines. If you want to add something, please do.
Yeah, the natural pose of fall, right? I mean, it's like, I think I know that what Juan said was very beautiful, right? And very relatable, I think. Sorry, go ahead, Tarun, I interrupted you.
Okay, yeah, I was just going through the lines. Just that the accustomed and inferior ways, we recognize that this is keeping me tied. This is my smallness. And yet the familiarity and the custom, the habitual thing stalls us. And I mean, till we are stalled, it's okay. It's a journey towards something, but recognizing it, I feel, brings a lot more of light and honesty in our life. And you just read this line, this, need to rest in a natural pose of fall. How contrary this sounds, right? Rest in natural pose of fall, resting in the fall. How can one rest in the fall? And yet, look at us, we are adept at resting in our falls. Like it's like, Juan, you said so beautifully that it was a very elevated place of where I was, right? And yet I wanted my depressive, sad self because I wanted, it felt unreal, it felt unrestful. And we have all been through movements like this. Something happens and we don't know how to contain that happiness. There was this small question and answers I was reading from the mother, and there was this sadhak who had who I don't know asked or wrote to the mother that this has happened, and I'm feeling so elated. And mother, is this true elation or is this my ego or is this false? What should I do? And mother very sweetly replies that why don't you just concentrate within and experience the experience? Just stay with it. Don't judge it. Don't try to do any, but it's hard for us to contain our sorrows and our joys, and it just gets dispersed, right? We get something and we just disperse it because the container is not fit right now to hold that. Yeah, so as a child, yeah, who learns to walk and walk not long, replace the titan will forever to climb. On the hearth's altar, dim the sacred fire. So we keep dimming it, or it is dim and we don't make it undim. That's not a word. Yeah. So, and this one also, this old pull of subconscious chords renews. We feel we have overcome this, we have moved on, this doesn't affect me anymore. And yet things keep getting renewed, the cyclical thing that Vishal was saying, right? We keep going back to the same situation, could be with different faces, and we keep feeling, going through the same emotions, the same setbacks, the same personality types, because that's what I am. Something in me is responding to that. And it draws this pull of the subconscious. This is so visual, that the pull of subconscious from below draws the unwilling spirit from the heights. I mean, how can it go further if it keeps getting pulled back? Or a dull gravitation drags us down to the blind driven inertia of our beings. It's blind and it's inertia, and yet it appears to be mine, so I keep getting attached to it. And this is the saving grace. This too the supreme diplomat can use. He makes our fall a means for greater rise. So we cannot stop at the above sentences, the above lines. There's always this thing that don't worry, everything is being used for this. I mean, of course, if you can rise, that doesn't mean I keep falling, right? But if I'm falling, just knowing that this too will be used and keep moving forward, keep moving forward. Nandini, I think what she had shared on the circle of harmony group again is the same thing, right? Mother, I think it's mother. And it said that it is always good to look within oneself from time to time and see that one is nothing and can do nothing. So I need to look inside me and see that I'm nothing, I can do nothing. But afterwards, one must turn one's eyes to thee, knowing that thou art all and thou canst do all. Like I can't do anything, but he can, and he is accessible to me. It's I who's not calling. So thou art the life of our life and the light of our being. Thou art the master of our destiny. So a beautiful reminder and so similar. So we'll take up the last thing from here, and then if there's any reflections, we'll take before ending. Mother says the will, the concentration must be cultivated. Like it would not happen very naturally for most of us. It is a question of method, of regular exercise. If you will, you can. So it has to be cultivated. It is a question of method, of regular exercise. If you will, you can. So if I am not able to, I must know that I am not willing it enough, of course, because whatever I want to do, if I want to join a gym, I do that. And it requires a lot more hassles, taking a costly membership, buying new clothes, taking that gym bag, gym bottle. And yet I'm willing to do that. But for my small practices, my filling up those empty pockets of time, I'll have to cultivate, have to want. If you will, you can. But the thought, what's the use, must not come in to weaken the will. The idea that one is born with a certain character and can do nothing about it is a stupidity. So I don't know if Mother could have said it more clearly. That if something in me feels that, I cannot do it, it's beyond me, or, my nature is too set, or now, my age is such that in my age it's not possible to change, or my circumstances don't allow me to change. Of course, it's tougher and tougher and difficult. But one can always grow, one can always progress, and one is always growing, one is always progressing. So the idea that one is born with a certain character and can do nothing about it is a stupidity. Yeah, so stopping here, and please, if there's anything, do share.
I was remembering some words of Mother, which I don't remember exactly, but she said something like that we if we have some strong limitation, if we have some strong difficulties, it is the sign that we have the opposite inside of us. Like if we feel we are very weak in some sense, there is a strength that and these difficulties in our character are like the material with which we can develop this contrary characteristic or something like that. So we should think like that way. Like if we have some sense of limit of weakness or a difficulty, probably we are called to develop the other opposite strength in us.
Yes, thank you, Juan.
That's very true, by the way. That's very beautiful. Yes, Mother has said that. So I think that is a good reminder, to all of us that if you see anything, uh, I mean, it could be physical, it could be emotional, new, and actually that's a good way to also judge, not judge, sorry, a very wrong word, but not judge other people. We see some other people and then we like want to, and let us say, right, you see somebody who is very selfish. They are meant to be very generous. Shibundo has some very beautiful lines. I don't know how he says it. I mean, just this is the genius of Shibundo. He says, so if you, he says like, there is as much work, in the darkness because it has, God has put that much effort in basically removing the light as he has put in the opposite. So if you see, this is, there's the spirit basically where it is completely hidden in matter, right? In the inconscient, completely hidden, buried. Now, a lot of effort has gone into that. So it is like the opposite of the other side, right? So if something, then you think just even from a limited logical, mental understanding, you can see if something, it's like a spring, you push it, push it, push it, push it, push it. The more you're pushing, it is going to bounce back with that much ferocity, right? Like, and it's going to go very far, right? Just a little bit too much, just like the reflex is going to be very less. So one can actually almost like see that if there is so much power invested in the negative, that same power will get pushed out into the positive, right? And so yes, I mean that is true. What you just said is so even like uh, you know, my father, I always remember these words. He said, when you have very, big challenges in life, I used to, I was a kid and I was like very much active. And then, anyways, I don't want to go, but I used to have like asthma and some other thing. As a child, I was very frustrated. Like, what is this? I have to go, and all my friends are, and he would just tell me, like, what? It's when you get a lot of obstacles, you I mean that is basically only great people get a lot of obstacles, right? He told me that. And of course he was giving this to me as a child, like maybe in a way that I could understand, right? So uh, but sometimes we get discouraged, like what is it, why am I facing so many difficulties? That is in a way to push us forward.
Thank you for that words. Yeah.
So if there's no other sharing, we can end the session here. Should we just read the passage once more and then we'll end? We have 4 minutes. So if anybody wants to read it, they can. Otherwise, go ahead.
Yeah, Taru, I'll read.
Thank you.
Yeah. What is concentration? It is to bring back all the scattered threads of consciousness to a single point, a single idea. Those who can attain perfect attention succeed in everything they undertake. They will always make a rapid progress. And this kind of concentration can be developed exactly like the muscles. One may follow different systems, different methods of training. Today, we know that the most pitiful weakling, for example, can with discipline become as strong as anyone else. One should not have a will which flickers out like a candle. The will, the concentration must be cultivated. It is a question of method, of regular exercise. If you will, you can. But the thought, what is the use, must not come in to weaken the will. The idea that one is born with a certain character and can do nothing about it is a stupidity. Thank you, Taru. So beautiful.
So ending the session here, thanking Grace, thanking Divine, grateful for the teachings, for the pointers, for the direction, grateful for the ability to comprehend, understand, sit, listen, speak, share, reflect, and to feel the joy that I am capable of feeling in whatever degree I can. Praying for peace and joy, true peace and true joy in everybody's hearts and lives, and sharing the merit of my actions, my thoughts with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Taru, and everyone.